I'm sure we heard lots of comments in reference to criticisms of lectures. Quite often we hear there's much too much information or that the material is not organized. And quite often when we do organize, we hear there's too much planning and organizing, but much too much information. With all that in mind, we realize that there should be and must be other types of conveying information other than the straight lecture method. So let's take a look at the comparison of the effective with the lectures and the discussion method. This slide will show you, as you can see, that there are different types of studies which indicate that the discussion method far surpasses the lecture method in reference to knowledge, skills, and abilities being conveyed. And as you can see on the slide, there are certain websites and also research information that will justify and clarify this information. We find also other research findings. One is that the student's attention span has decreased in the lecture presentation. As I said previously, students now need excitement in the conveying of the information. The typical pattern that we see in a lecture type response and in an attention span is in a session of a classroom. There is 5 minutes for setting in, 5 minutes to 10 minutes of assimilating the material. Then there's a confusing area, and then we finally find the attention span at the end returning toward the lecture. We also find in our research that the average attention span is only 4 minutes long, and after that the mind seems to wander. And we ask why. Well, if hearing were measured in words per minute, we find out that we listen 4 to 6 times faster than the word which we convey. And quite often, our mind tends to wander. So we need to realize that we have to get the students back into and out of the 4-minute span. And one way of doing this is by using the student-oriented information. What I mean by that is rather than utilizing pedagogy, which is teaching to the students, we use what we call andragogy, which is actually self-directed learning and concept leader approach, meaning rather than conveying information, we identify the information we are going to discuss. We then create an aura in which we sort of excite the person, I should say, into reference to what they are going to learn. And then we ask them what did they learn and how they can apply it to everyday use. Again, we call this the distinction between pedagogy and andragogy. Andragogy is self-directing learning. It's focusing on learning and application. And it's on the competencies, not that you will need, but the competencies that you have and that you can develop today. So we have now the distinguishing factor between pedagogy and andragogy. So in reference to reviewing, when we have to lecture, we also say it's important to know who your students are. It's important to have a map to follow where you are, where you're going, how you're going to get there, how long is it going to take, and how much is it going to cost you and the students in reference to time. So we have a map in reference to our lectures, and we recognize the student's attention span, 4 to 6 minutes long. We provide what we can in reference to our environments. Quite often we are concerned about our classes being too large. However, we can focus on certain students at the back of the room, and which would indicate that we are focusing in on everyone. But more importantly, let them do something with what we said. Let them either practice it, utilize it, create something, or discuss it in a case study format. All of these will extend and improve your competencies in conveying the information. So I have something here that you might find very interesting that I would like to read to you. A study on becoming an effective speaker indicated that 7% of communication is with words, 38% is with the tone of your voice, 55% is with your facial expressions, and all this is tied into what we call body language. And if you were to look at this, again, 7% is only what is conveyed in words. So as you can see, lecturing is a vital, important factor in teaching, but it's not all lecturing. It's gathering information, conveying the information, and making sure that the students are receptive to the knowledge, skills, and abilities which you have, which has made you who you are. So when looking at teaching, what we are actually doing is not only conveying our information, but conveying our vision and our mission, which is to maximize the knowledge and the skills that the students need for their professional development. So our number one job, as we see here, is the capacity to inspire and to energize others to perform at their highest level individually and collectively.